allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, are there any amendments to the agenda?
I have none.
Anybody else?
No, I'm good. I'll make the motion to accept the agenda as presented. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye, agenda's approved. Do we have any announcements tonight? Nope. No? Okay, that looks good. Anyone here for public input? Looking through the crowd. Okay. All right, well,
Standing room only.
I know. Big crowd tonight.
Summer crowds are busy around here.
Okay, well, I guess then moving along, we have an application for a common victualer's license.
I can never say that either.
Yeah, can we get a better word?
I know it, they got
I'll write the state.
R&R Concepts Corp., which is the bar at 25 Main Street.
I guess they got 3 minutes, but
Yeah, I was under the impression that he was able to make it tonight. Just told, there's no issues. Bridget's been working with him, he submitted his floor plans and
Okay.
his ABCC application's been submitted, and they're just, it's being reviewed and processed at the state level now for his alcohol license.
so there's really no reason that he needs to come. We already vetted that
Right,
a few meetings
Yeah.
ago, right?
yeah.
We want to know it's going to have on tap.
What's that?
We want to know it's going to be on tap.
Quite a bit, from what I understand, but
It's very small. Have you walked in there?
I haven't been in years. But yeah, it is small. Yeah.
It's very small and everything, so it's going to be interesting as to how that works out and everything. So, but it looks very nice. But
Yep,
yeah.
and he's received all of his food safety certifications that we require and Bridget requires, so he's in good shape on this.
All right.
No issues with taxes or fees with the property?
Nope.
Okay.
Madam Chair, as the board is aware, if the board were to approve this, which there is no objection, it's contingent upon once Bridget signs off on the kitchen, then the license would be issued.
I'll make a motion to approve the application for common vicular's license for R&R Concepts Corp., DBA Bar 25 on 25 Main Street.
I will second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And chair says aye. All right. So that's going to be the pub, or the new pub near the Union Coffee Shop.
All of us or just Janice?
Oh. Thank you.
All right. Dan not here, you stepping in for Dan, Mark?
Yes.
Usually he steps in for you.
Thank you. Before we get to this agenda item, I just would like to make a plea to the residents to try to conserve water. Regardless of the 5 inches of rain we've had today, we've been pumping a lot of water, and we have one of our wells, as many of you know, one of our wells is shut off, and then we had to take another well down for maintenance. So we're a little short on water supply right now. We're doing okay, but if we can keep the watering to a minimum, it'll help us out quite a bit. So
And they will fine you. They were out. I saw them out the other night. I ran into Brian, and he said they've gotten a few people that are
I think
multiple offenders,
Yeah,
and they should.
we do a warning,
Mhm.
and I bet we've issued 50 or 60 warnings,
Mhm.
and then we fine for the next offense, and we've probably fined about 10 or 15 of those, and then we do have 2 third offenses, which is $300. So third offense is a little pricey. So we have for signature by the board a covenant regarding a sewer easement for Nasoya Foods, where they're constructing their odor control system, requires them to move the sewer, and it's partially constructed in the easement, so we need to have a covenant regarding the sewer easement to note what the modification is. And so Dan had put together with town council the covenant, and that shows the detail of where the plan is and where the relocation is. And so that's for signature by the board.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, I mean, my only question was, we had to make Mark come for that.
We had
Because
what?
Mark had to come, like, hang
Oh,
around
no,
for
I
that.
had a couple other things on.
Oh, all right, all right. That was the only thing I saw on the agenda for you. Sorry if you got.
We need a motion to approve the easement, correct?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the covenant regarding sewer easement with Minnesota Foods USA LLC in the town of Ayer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
And then, Carly, those need to be notarized.
Okay, great, I'll do that.
I was also asked to give an update, and it may be on the agenda further down, parking management plan. You want me to wait for that?
I have no qualms about you doing it now.
No, I agree.
If somebody else
Just
does.
yeah.
So, I have, some,
Thank you.
I put together sort of a memo that talks about, we had a meeting with the downtown business group at the police department that the police put together with the economic development and the DPW to talk about parking, and they had some concerns, and we've been talking about kicking this off. One of the issues we've kind of been juggling here is the marked parking lot, because when that happens, it's going to definitely have an impact during construction on the parking. But after reviewing the parking study and the status of the marked lot, I think there's a lot of things we can start implementing that I've outlined here. So the first issue was a lot of business employees were complaining they were getting tickets. So Carly set up a program where she's issuing permits to employees of the businesses so that they can put those in their cars and they won't get.
Yeah, just certain businesses approved by the police chief are constant. There's issues we have down there.
Okay, makes sense.
And then the next part of the implementation plan is to have a resident parking permit program. We haven't outlined where those different zones would be, but we would basically have 3 zones. One would be the 2-hour parking zone, which would be clearly shown on a map with signage. Then we would have a local resident permit only. So if you lived on Lower Pleasant Street or West Street or Lower Columbia Street, you would be able to get a special permit that would say, I'm the only one who's allowed to park on the street here. I know if you go over to West Street or Pleasant Street, it's commuters parking there,
it's
and
crazy.
people can't get out of their driveways, or if they get home, they can't find a place to park their own car. And then have a resident parking area, which I would say would probably, I would delineate north of Cambridge Street would be any resident in town who has a beach sticker or a transfer sticker could park there, but out-of-towners couldn't within that certain zone. And then we would have, for the commuters, they would have the Zero Park Street lot, and wherever else they can find that's not within those zones. What we've talked about with both myself, Robert, Alan Minoy, and Police Chief Murray is to sit down and identify where these zones are, where we need to put signs, where we need to set up any pavement markings or anything like that. And we would like to get that implemented as we're selling transfer station stickers beginning in November.
I think all this is great. I mean, we kind of got revved up a little bit last, I mean, you might have been away, but Janice pointed out some issues, and then I had been thinking about it too with the mart, because I have a feeling it's going to be Armageddon when that parking lot is not available for 6 months or whatever.
Right.
And just the Pleasant Street one has always gotten me. I always, for years, thought those were residents, and then realized it's just commuters who don't want to.
And this doesn't add a lot of parking spaces, but we looked at, right over here by the post office, we could put in diagonal, it's a pretty wide area, we could put in diagonal parking, and probably instead of four spaces, we can get 8 spaces in there. So we would do that in the spring when we restrike the road, because I think we may have to shift the center lane over a little bit. We haven't really looked at the detailed geometry, but we could do that.
What would be the concerns about, this came up at the parking forum, with people backing out as you have other individuals taking the right onto Central? There be some additional signage?
We could put some signage up. I think it helps with traffic calming. It is a little tricky, especially if you have a van parked at the end. But I think the people turning would have to know that there's stuff there. People get used to that. And I don't know if there's been any improvement with the truck restriction.
You guys are
I
probably
can tell it
Yeah.
when I come home. Yeah.
Do you guys see it?
As far as that goes.
Yeah. Yes,
Just being
there's-
here all day?
Yeah, there's been improvement, and then there's the occasional, it's usually a vehicle out of state or so forth, but it has made an improvement.
Sandy Pond Road has been a lot better too. I mean, in the last few years since the signs went up. And
What we would do is the first diagonal parking space would also be a handicap space. So that's not always occupied, and so it gives a little more clear space. But we'd lay it all out in accordance with.
Is this this is scheduled to be redone, right? Columbia, wasn't today? At some point, isn't there a grant for
It's
that?
been submitted for the tip, but I don't know.
Okay,
if
it's on the part of the
been-
tip.
Yeah.
All right.
It's probably not going to be done in my tenure.
Oh, all
Unless we
right.
find some more money.
Okay.
It generally takes, well, it's like East Main Street. We've
Yeah,
been on
no,
that
I
for a
understand.
while, and that keeps getting bumped down.
No, I guess I was
But
thinking,
there is
could we
another-
do anything,
yeah.
manipulate the end there to make it, like Scott said, a little safer?
We're
Cut
waiting
that
for
corner
that
off.
$1 trillion infrastructure.
Well, it's coming any day. Mark,
Yes.
post office. When is that going to be fixed?
So I just saw that Chief Murray had said we already have enough signage there. We might need to move some, but I'll
He
schedule
also
for my.
recommended, like,
Well,
painting
that's what I'll have
on the ground.
my
Yeah.
crew.
I agree with
that,
him, by the way, too. I
paint
think
that,
the
yeah.
stuff on the ground works
Yeah.
better
Yeah,
than the signs.
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
got 2
so,
signs, but they park
So we
literally
just
in the
I just
middle
need
of-
to get my guys to get all of the painting stuff out and get that done. But that should be done fairly easily. And then the last item on here is, we have a lot of parking that's in private lots that, like for instance, Billiards. His parking lot's full after 6 o'clock, but during the day it's probably half full or even less than that. So when we did the parking study, we talked to Calvin Moore, Dave Barry, and I can't remember who we talked to at the bank about if we could do some shared parking, have shared parking agreements. They all kind of had excuses why they didn't want to do it, but they didn't really say no. And I think once we sit down with them and say, look, can we get 5 spaces or 10 spaces from 8 to 5 or 7 to 5 or something like that, and come up with how that would be managed, what their responsibilities would be, what our responsibilities were. I think we can get some shared parking agreements with some of the businesses. So that's something that I'll work with Al Minoyan on meeting with them, and I have some draft agreements that I need to go through and see what we can do to entice them. It's probably going to require some painting, some signage. Maybe some general parking lot improvements, but I think it would be a benefit for people to know they can park behind the buildings and not have to worry about having to go to Carlin's to have a beer if they're parked back there. So, any other comments or ideas?
The Park Street, I'm sorry, Janice, the Park Street lot, our lot,
Yes.
is Mark surfacing that, or is that our responsibility?
Mart is,
Okay.
through the chair, so it's part of,
That's what I thought. I
The
just wasn't sure if
project.
that got axed along
Yeah.
with their
So when
shade
is
structure.
that part gonna get done? Because,
yeah.
to be honest with you, they could be doing
Should have been
that.
done already, you're right.
You know, that part could have been done while we were waiting for this other part to be done. And did the RFP go out? What's the progress on the RFP? Now he's opened a new door.
Carrier pigeon.
It
Yeah.
has gone
We
out,
haven't used carrier
Yeah.
pigeon in
it,
a while.
it has gone out to bid. The bids are closing.
August 1st, the filed, excuse me, sub bids are tomorrow, and the bid's August 1st, but that Park Street's included in it, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
that's
I
why
see.
I
they
don't
Oh, yeah,
know
yeah,
if it is or not.
I feel like it is.
Yeah,
I'd
there
have
was
to
some
double check
promises
that
there
one.
for a while back, so, I don't know if
We'll
it was.
clarify
yeah.
on that, but the last I understood, it was part of the project.
I agree with you, I just
Yeah.
couldn't recall if
Yeah.
that was taken away as part of, we can meter that, right? I mean, I think we should put.
Well, if they're gonna meter.
Yeah, because
meter
everybody's
at,
just gonna, or
at the
parking
rail trail
passes
lot.
or.
That's why it's important also to have permit parking for residents, so that the commuters don't
Right.
try to get all the free spots.
That's
Yeah.
planned to have a parking kiosk like the other side, the
Yeah.
big side of the
Yeah.
project.
And then I guess the other question was meters anywhere that down the road? Parking meters, or are we not there
You know,
yet?
that's
And I'm
kind of
only just asking.
That's kind of above my pay grade. I think that's something that the town has to develop a philosophy
certainly
of,
above our pay grade.
how the businesses feel about that and how the residents feel about
Yeah.
it.
No, I know it's a tough issue. I just didn't know if you could
Yeah.
half-hour
It's
parking.
a lot easier to implement now, and I don't know.
Sure,
if-
because it's a.
I don't know how far back it goes, but the town used to have parking meters,
Years ago.
and now you do it with a kiosk or a couple kiosks, and people, pay for it and stick a sticker on their windshield or something like that. So you don't need to have that infrastructure of 30 parking meters in a row.
Yeah.
But and it's a lot easier to manage.
Okay. I can just see people parking on Main Street all day to take the train into Boston. It probably happens now.
Well, I think and Carly would know better. I think the police do a pretty good job of.
No, yeah, absolutely.
It's 2-hour parking on Main Street right now.
Yeah.
It's 2 hour, okay.
I don't know. I'm rarely in the selectman's office when someone's not coming in to complain about a parking ticket, right?
Good, yeah, keep them
A
coming.
lot. A lot.
Money makers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. For our next meeting, could you just give us any type of update you have as far as the RFP and what's going on with that?
Yep.
They should have good bids by then.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm going to
they-
predict it now. If
August
they all
1st.
came in over bid, we have to just predicting it, just throwing it out there.
There seems like there's a lot of
interest.
interest, from looking at the
Timing-wise.
agendas that the engineers have been sending out. There's a lot of questions.
Timing wise, it's good because it's a winter. It kind of ends at
Yeah.
the end of the season.
Yeah.
Drags you through the winter. I think so. I was kind of hoping that might bring out more than the
Yeah, the
summer.
thing that worries me about some of our projects is with these tariffs kicking in. For instance, we bid the DPW storage building.
It's all
and
steel.
we only got one bid, and it came in a couple $100,000 over budget. And so we talked to some contractors who said they were just too busy to bid it and had too much work. So we decided to wait until the fall to rebid it. But now steel's 25% more money, so we're not sure how that'll affect things. But I think that will have an impact on some of the construction prices.
I agree.
So the other item that I was asked to give an update on is Scully Road.
Yeah.
So I had thought that by the time I got back, we would be a lot farther along, but there was a little snafu. So our guys went out and we removed all the concrete guardrail posts. We did some clearing and cleaning up some of the brush along both sides of the road. And then we talked to the property owner about removing the retaining wall, and he said, "Oh, I can come out and help you do that." So we had that scheduled for last week, And then he called and said, "Oh, I changed my mind, I don't want to do it."
He doesn't want to assist, or he doesn't want?
Well, he doesn't want it removed, but he doesn't really have any say in it, 'cause it's in our right of way.
Right.
So he was going to help, and then he changed his mind?
Well, he changed his mind and he didn't want it removed.
Oh, well,
And I
too
think he
bad.
talked to his tenants there and they didn't want it removed. And so now we've got it dig safe. Now we just have to, we can't do it with our equipment, so we have to rent some equipment. So we're getting some prices on that, and we can schedule that. So, and then we also got quotes to pave that section. So the first, I think it was 600 feet. Where there was a lot of potholes up just past where that retaining wall is. So that's going to cost about $14,000 to pave.
Would you just skim it? Like you're not grinding it?
Yeah, no, we would just do an overlay.
Okay.
Right, because you want to do the overlay because
We're
it's on the
gonna
list for
dig,
the-
yeah,
for
we're
the
gonna dig it
water
all
and
up
all that.
in a year. And then we don't want to paint the center line until we pave it. So it kind of all shifts, depends on us getting the retaining wall removed and then paving, and then we'll paint that. We have to really look at the if we want to remove that slope and kind of cut back that corner. We do have right of way there, but we may have to put in a retaining wall or something. So that kind of has to be more engineered than just having our guys go out with a bulldozer and dig that around.
Can you scrape the brush off, maybe?
I think they did.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I was out there
Yeah, I
maybe
think
last
they-
week, and I saw
Yeah, I
the
think
cement
that they,
post move.
Yeah,
but-
I think they did get
Okay.
that. I asked them to anyway, so I'm gonna
Okay.
see if they did. Installed new flashing stop sign. We can't really do that because it's expensive and it's not our property.
Mhm.
But we did give Calvin Moore 2 of our used stop signs out
They're
of
up.
our shed.
He
so
did put them
those,
up, yeah.
those up. And then when we're out painting, we'll paint a line with the big stop template out there at his driveway, so people not only see the stop signs, but they see the painting.
Right.
And then when we're doing the painting, and Dan's laying out a painted island, so when we paint the lines, we'll get that out of that.
Can we grade that shoulder where the cement post came out so it's a little more
Yeah,
level?
when they do the paving, then we're going to clean up the
right, maybe.
shoulders and everything.
Because I think that gives you a
put
few
some
more feet to
grinding
bail
down.
if, now with those gone.
Yeah.
So once this little traffic island
Yeah.
is painted or whatnot, will we then be able to put a crosswalk because that would be the alleged safe zone?
The police chief wasn't real thrilled about that because it's a pretty wide area.
But one of the
Um,
reasons why he wasn't thrilled is because it didn't have a little island.
Yeah. Well,
So I'm
it
just
it
wondering
would be
if it-
it would be a flush island. So,
Right, but I mean, if somebody wanted to jump
but
an island,
there
they're
was
gonna jump an island.
there was a crosswalk there at one time.
Right.
So we can look into doing that also. I mean, there were sidewalks on both sides. So
Yeah, because otherwise,
it was-
I know it was
Yeah.
talked about maybe putting it lower, but then you're asking people to go this way.
Right.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So if that painted island
Yeah. So what we'll do
creates
is
that
we'll
safe
yeah.
zone.
We'll put a sketch together showing how that configuration would be, and then we can pass that around and people can look at it, and we'll get input from the chief.
And then also, Alan, we got a second proof today. Alan's doing a new sign, taking down the tall skinny one with all the rickety
Thank God.
sign.
Yeah.
We're actually putting 2 up. One is just Scully Road, quarter-mile straight ahead. This is a residential neighborhood, please slow down. And then we're gonna do like a business park sign.
Right.
So we'll say Malemco Park and like little inserts. And so we'll say RDI and Moore Lumber Company. And then, you can insert as businesses change and stuff down there.
Right.
So people are aware that it's at the other end of the street.
Are you gonna? So I hadn't talked to Robert about this. I think I mentioned that night. So you can put the sign like they have at the end of Nemco at the end, which is
Yep.
good idea. It looks nice. And then like like you're saying, like a neighborhood sign almost, like not the residents, just the businesses.
Just
like,
the businesses.
would
yeah.
you put that down a little farther so people aren't stopping at the end? Do you know what I mean? Like if they come around the corner,
We were
would it
gonna
make
put it-
more sense to put it around the corner so let's say a trailer truck isn't stopping at the end to read the sign?
Yeah.
Maybe put it
They'd make
down.
a complete turn.
Come around the corner and where that little straightaway is,
Mhm.
as opposed to stopping at the corner because we get it in my
Yeah.
neighborhood, people stop and like
Is there
right in the middle and,
Land on that right-hand side though, to put a sign going down Scully?
on the right.
It was the
Pretty
guard-
big
Where's
sign.
that?
guardrail
Whereabouts?
So,
Right along the.
yeah, the
road.
guard.
Closer to
rails on
the, out towards the
right.
road, we have that, like Devon's property where the guardrail is
Yeah.
coming in. I just didn't know if it made more sense to put the directional sign there, so you don't have you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's very minimal though, I gotta say, the directional sign.
Mhm.
So it's not like you have to stop.
It's
and
not like
read.
Wagon Road where you
Yeah,
have to
it's
actually have
not
to
that
leave
one,
and say
right.
5 is there and
We-
this is Littleton, this is there.
We
Okay.
kept it big and not so wordy, it's very visual, so
Okay. Just a thought if there's
Yeah.
room.
hopefully we'll have that within a week or two, so.
And Robert, you've been in communication about the bus stop, right? I know that doesn't have
Yes.
to do with Mark, but that was with
Ye-
Dr. Malone.
Yes, Dr. Malone and I have no issue with moving it, and we're working with D-Bus to prepare that for when school starts.
Okay, good. Awesome.
Anything else?
Anything else?
All right, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark?
Anything else on the agenda, Mr. Cohen?
I think that was it.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
All right,
head home.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night. All right. Mr. Starzyk.
Hello.
Oh,
I brought a friend
no.
today.
I see
That's
that.
okay. This is my colleague and boss, Richard Henderson, who's the Executive Vice President for Real Estate at Mass Development.
Hi,
How are
Richard.
you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having us. We were both at Devon's today for other things, so he thought we had some sushi next door in Osaka.
Oh, yeah?
It was good.
I've heard nothing but good things. I haven't
very-
made it
Honestly.
yet, and I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, customers from various towns, I'm all over the place, I've been mentioned everywhere, actually.
It was
so-
packed.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Credit,
I came
Yeah.
through, I think, Monday night, Tuesday night, and I was like, what is going on down here? Both sides of the street
Yeah.
were packed, so it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. Very good.
All right, what you got for us?
Well, I think maybe Robert wants to. Do you want to frame? Robert invited me to come tonight.
Yep.
I think we're prepared to give. We can give you a little bit of an update on what we've been doing since we last checked in with you. I know that you had a discussion at one of your meetings. Was it late last month?
Yep, it
About
was
the-
June 19th. Yep.
June 19th as
Yep.
well. So maybe we could get some information in that direction. Do you want to? Should I go first, or do you want to go first? And also, I guess I did. Robert circulated
Yes.
the old
Okay.
list of concerns from 2006, which took me back in time.
Yeah, it was good times back then.
2006?
2012.
12, I was gonna say, yeah, yeah.
Six years ago to
Yeah, all right, I was
2012
gonna
to
say.
the Trinity financial proposal
Yes,
and
yes.
the list of FinCom concerns coming from that time. So I'll give our update first. After meeting with you, we continued to make the circuit of the remaining planning boards and boards of selectmen, although we actually missed our meeting with the Ayer Planning Board, but
Okay.
we will get back here when the time is right. I think coming out of our meeting with you specifically, it did cause us to sort of think, where can we find some additional mutual benefits coming out of this project? Benefits for town of Ayer, mass development for the region, that we didn't cover. I mean, we talked about additional affordable housing on your subsidized housing inventory. We talked about additional bodies and consumers, if you will, living in Vicksburg Square and helping to anchor that end of West Main Street as the town is looking to revitalize that corridor. The less tangibles like saving a great old building that a lot of people have memories with. So we decided, I guess, to look beyond that and where might we go. So there's a state program called Chapter 40R that we looked into. It's been around for quite a while, but we spoke with the current administrator for the program. It is active, it is funded. What it is basically an incentive program for communities to zone for and to give building permits to dense residential development. And by there's different categories of density for different types of housing. So for single-family homes, I think it's 6 or 7 units to an acre. For a multifamily building like Vicksburg Square, it would be 20 units per acre, which we feel that the Vicksburg Square building already meets that density requirement just as it is. So that would not be a stretch to fit those units into that property. The incentive side of this program is there's a one-time payment to the host community when the rezoning goes into place, and that's based on the size of the project. It's our understanding here that might be $350,000, and then there's additional one-time payment that results when the building permits are issued for the units, and that's it's another multiplication problem. We think it could be another $600,000, $650,000 possibly. In addition to those 2 one-time payments, there's a companion program to 40R called 40S. The S is for schools in this case, and we're not going to push this one too much at this point because how it would apply to Town of Ayer, Town of Harvard is not entirely clear to us right now. It has you punch your municipal budget numbers into a black box, and it's not an online black box, but you work with DOR, I believe, to understand how much subsidy you might be eligible for from the state, but that would help offset additional costs of education for children occupying the building.
Well, that doesn't really affect there because we don't really ever get an opportunity to have that bid on that school contract. So that would be a Harvard benefit, wouldn't it, if you did go that route?
The school payments, right? They would be.
Okay.
Although we're not clear that it's applicable to either town, and we're not clear. This year it happens to be funded. The program is fully funded. It's not always fully funded, so that's why I'm not trying to sell that point too hard here today. So that's so we've come up with some potential revenue that we might be able to use to look for these mutually beneficial investments. I think we're still kind of struggling with what would a good use for this money be? What's something that Town of Ayer needs that the region could also benefit from? So I would be interested to hear any additional feedback from you tonight on that point. I'll summarize the rest of what we've done. So we've looked into that program. We've been in touch with the manager of that program at the state. He thinks that we would be a good candidate for it. Subsequent to that, we came back, and with Robert's help, we convened a meeting here with the planning director, economic development director, and your community development director. We talked about this in a little bit more detail. I got the request from Robert to come in, and I think we decided to put on hold a meeting that we were going to have with staffs of all 3 towns to discuss this a little more. So I think, see where we come out of this tonight, but we would like to, that would probably be our next stop.
James? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. You answer that
I'm sorry.
first.
Ed, what is the model now? Has it changed from 2011 in terms of, just to refresh my memory, in terms of mean income, low income, higher income? Is it going to be split? Is there?
Yeah, I think it's changed significantly from the 2012 proposal, which was, just to refresh you or the listeners, was 80% of the units were going to be rented to families at the low income households. We think, based on our meeting with this board and with the other boards and groups that we've met with, I mean, that number, that 80%, was probably the major flaw in the previous proposal.
I agree.
I would say that we are homing in the number that we might be approaching consensus on is 25% affordable.
Okay.
That's an important number because it would allow the developer to qualify to access low-income tax credits. It's sort of the minimum threshold for accessing that potential.
And you see that, I mean, just in residential, you see that in larger, I mean, the Willows has, you know, a threshold of low
Right.
income or lower income.
So
I
it
mean,
helps,
that
it helps the
seems more
developer
reasonable.
in that way, and then it helps the communities in that if at least 25% of the units in a project are affordable, 25% are affordable, then all 100% of the units count towards that community's subsidized housing inventory.
How many units total would you be looking for?
You know, that we have not engaged on the developer front anymore since we
Okay.
met with you last, so I would, you know, Trinity had proposed 250, and that was
Yeah,
a
that was a lot.
that was a firm number for them. I mean, that was they had an architect go in and demise the property. I think that if we're going forward with more of a project more focused on market rate housing, it's going to be catering to the working population of Devons and the region, and some of those units are probably going to be smaller, and that might correlate to a larger overall number, but less 3-bedroom units probably.
So 95% of those buildings sit in Ayer, if I recall.
75%.
That's only 75? Okay, so it's a little
75 to 80, yeah.
So it would be split, the affordable ratio? I mean, I don't know how it applies with Devon's, bless you. So those splits would go to both communities, correct? Like, we would get credit for
We
our
would try to keep it.
75%.
Like the straight way would just to keep it proportionate, you know, the same percentage of affordable units in each community. I don't know if there was a circumstance where Ayer wanted less and Harvard wanted more. Maybe you.
No, I
could-
guess
you
my
could
point
discuss
was,
that,
is
but-
Devon's doesn't come in and say, well, look at, we've met our threshold, we're great. This is going toward, I mean, I just want to make sure this is going towards, if we get this far, towards
that-
heirs.
Yes,
Okay.
and there's precedent for that at Devon's with the affordable units on Almond and Bates Street count towards Ayers SHI, and the same with Harvard.
What would Devon's do for services if you're going to have an increase in population? You know, right now there's a housing cap, and we're going to increase that. And I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but you're going to probably increase by like 50% or more. So you're going to have a higher population density in Devon's itself. What would Mass Development do with Devon Services, fire, police, et cetera,
Right.
in order to
Right.
take the burden off heirs mutual assistance if nothing is done?
Right. I think because our emergency services are sized to our daytime population, which is in excess of 5,000 employees, not including
Yeah.
the Army. We support South Post operations with fires there, not including the prison, the Job Corps. You know, those are all just other institutional populations at Devon's where we provide support. So I don't think our fire department is a full-time professional squad. I think it's smaller than yours, but not that much smaller. So I don't feel that the addition of a new 3-story building with those units is going to tax them too much. We have the state police are there for police services.
Is it just one state police officer on patrol? Typically, is it 2?
I believe it's 2,
Okay.
with the ability to surge for event days if necessary.
No. And honestly, I always feel a little comfort having the state police 5 minutes away all the time. In my opinion, I just think it's a nice little thing to have. But I just, but I just didn't know if there was just 1 or 2. I mean, two is obviously much better than just having one guy up there roaming around.
Right, and they also stage there's other administrative functions that operate out of their office there, so there's actually quite a few troopers on site at any moment.
Yeah.
Up at the airfield,
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys
yeah.
see them all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
No, I'm
I
sorry.
think it was his turn.
It was. I don't look up. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's probably
So
most
the
of
other
the
question,
time.
the other question is, and I know there's probably not an answer, is 2033 with this position.
Right.
What, it would be a little more comforting from Ayer's perspective, since 75% of this project would sit within our natural boundaries, to have an idea of what's going to happen 15 years from now. And that was part of the Finance Committee's initial concern, as the original project in 2012 was coming to shape with the mix of the units, was that, you know, at 2033, we potentially could own 75% of that.
Well, you'd have jurisdiction over 75% of it, right?
Right.
Just a couple of things. In 2033, there's often confusion around. There's an assumption that the fallback is it will go back to the towns. That's not actually the way the legislation is written. Yeah, it really the legislation just calls for
A plan will be.
a plan will be submitted to the legislature. That plan could be we're going to just keep going as we're going. That's one of the possibilities.
Do we have say in that, or is this
Yes,
going to
no,
be?
it's-
There's a whole.
The plan is submitted by the 3 towns and Mass Development.
Right.
And
Right.
there may be multiple
And,
plans submitted too.
of course, a million things can change in 15 years, but
Yeah.
15 years is not
Not that
far off, really.
No, although, I would point out that if assuming a default scenario where Ayer takes back jurisdiction of its the land within its historic boundary, you're not just getting a housing project. You're
You're getting a lot of taxable.
You're getting a nice
Sure.
the West Rail Industrial Park, half of Barnum Road, which is all good tax generating assets.
So in terms of this, I guess I have to bring up some things from the past and ask, because I want to be transparent with you, and you guys need to be transparent with us. And I think Thatcher did a really good job of helping melt the glacier that was between Ramirez and us and prior people up there. The school contract is an issue. Not per se that it goes to Harvard, but the fact that it seems to be sent to Harvard. I can talk to the school committee, but I think they brought it up when we met with them last about it doesn't go out to bid, or at least it doesn't.
It hasn't in a long time now. It's in renewal.
Okay, but or there's lack of notice when it does, and I'm not saying that we should tell kids that go to Harvard now that they need to go to Ayer. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it should be fair.
Okay, I would say the last time that it went out, Ayer did bid. Ayer filed a.
But we also bid on the police contract, and then when we submitted the bid, the rules changed.
You bid on the police contract?
Yes, we did, and then as soon as the chief put together a fantastic proposal, and Robert, you can attest to this. I'm not sure. I think Janice, you were on the board at the time. The rules changed that you had to be part of Central Dispatch to bid on the contract. Am I incorrect on that, or is that?
That's correct.
Okay, so I mean, it's stuff.
Sorry, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then one other thing off the top of my head, we have probably the worst contract in the history of mankind that was entered, in no fault of anybody at Devon's, with the town of Ayer and Devon's for the sewer contract, which we basically send you lots of money and sewage every day that we don't need to. Robert and I and Mark Wetzel met in maybe 2013, 14 with your council, and we were told, sorry, basically, go pound sand. It's a iron tight.
As you know, there's a lot of backstory there.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I was part of the meeting with George Ramirez. We sat at this table. It was the middle of the day, and I mean that's stuff that went back well before us. But I mean, it's stuff like that the town. I mean, I don't know what we spend on that a year, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
So when is that?
20, through the chair, the contract expires 2020, so we're coming up.
So it's coming up.
But
Yeah.
and they were just, I can get you a copy of it. Selectmen Hinman's correct with the flows. You're aware of it, Ed. It's things changed. It hasn't been a favorable agreement to the town of Ayer.
Right.
And shame on the town of Ayer. None of us were here, but that contract was not. I mean, the people at this table at the time voted it and thought it was great, and it really was not a good contract for the town of Ayer. So I mean, I guess it's that working relationship that makes me feel, and I feel so much better about Devon's than I did 5 years ago.
That's good.
When I get on this board, I do. I don't know about the rest of you, but I feel like it's a better relationship, and
And we certainly want to keep
Exactly,
Right,
so
we're not
that's,
gonna
Positive.
that's why I hope in your
Progress.
hiring process, you're looking for somebody like that, because I mean, like I said, Thatcher did a good job of
Yeah.
kind of being here. God, we saw him 4 or 5 times. I think we saw Ramirez once, and that, never at a meeting.
Right.
In the time he was there, so. Just a few things that I think that,
And I appreciate your, transparency is important as well.
mhm.
Even just letting us know, or letting you guys know that, yes, we're talking about renewing our contract with Harvard or whatever, just being clear about what's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just the school contract. I mean, like I said, there's a lot that goes into it. It might not even be, but like I don't think the town of Ayer could get away with just kind of quietly renewing a contract with another town. Like, we have to follow strict guidelines
Okay.
and it seems like mass development in the past has not quite followed the same guidelines as,
Yeah, I can't speak to the police contract at all. The
Okay.
school contract, there's a renewal clauses in it, and we continue to exercise those renewals. And it's based upon an annual survey of the people at Devon's, I think primarily people who have school kids, and they check in with them every year.
so, but basically that goes back to Acton Boxborough is the greatest high school. Its perception is reality, or Harvard's the better high school than Ayer or Shirley, and I would disagree with that to some degree. I mean, Ayer's changed a
Well, yeah,
lot since
brand
that.
new facility.
Brand new facility, brand new superintendent, well, not brand new anymore, but, I mean,
Yeah,
so, but perception is reality. I mean,
I've heard good things about the breadth of programs and courses that you offer here that you
yeah.
don't get.
But, that's kind of a skewed survey, in my opinion, because you can
Yeah.
have a community that's changed so dramatically, which Ayer has since the 90s, I mean, even since 2005.
Yeah.
But people who aren't necessarily in the community think the community is still what it was, or the school system was what it was. So
Right.
I guess that's a skewed survey to some degree. And
It is, but they are the end users, so it's for the people to ask. But why don't we get updates on all these 3 contracts
Yeah.
for you, and we can come back, or we can send an email in to Robert, and probably better done with another visit, maybe. Talk about those.
Madam Chair, Ed, as you know from the Selectmen, when you came the first meeting and since then, there was concern about as far as the timeline leading up, because it's going to require a super town meeting in the town of Ayer. The board specifically concerned that there's ample time, for all of the information and so forth to get out. And I know you went to some of the other towns as well. Where are you on, to the extent you know, the timeline? What are you looking
I
at?
think we're looking at spring of 2019.
Because I know when you first came, we're thinking
Right, well,
of
we were-
fall. So
That was before we were looking at this 40R program, which is a little more, it's going to be a little more of an educational effort for people
Yeah.
to get their brains around it, because it's not just simple marking up the zoning bylaw, it's a whole new thing that needs to be explained in detail, so.
then you'll have a conceptual, obviously, by that point of, I mean,
Well,
no-
we'll put some parameters.
of what,
Yes, what would the cap expansion look like, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think you'd expect to start seeing us, or the planning board, or whoever would be the point of contact, you'd start seeing us pretty regularly in
Us.
the fall. And we'd be holding public hearings as well, including hearings here and there.
So the payments on the 40R program would go back towards the construction costs? Or
No, they're incentive payments. But
Yeah, they could be used for a project that perhaps could improve the connection
Something in the
between
corridor.
here and there, or
Okay.
something like that.
No, the payments go to the host municipality, which would be mass development in this case, because it's the Devon zoning that is being changed, but there's nothing, it doesn't have to be spent on any particular.
God, what was I going to ask? Sorry, separate. The redevelopment, the mutual what was it? Grant we got for the Verba Gate to Scully Road. Is that what is the time frame for that? I know you touched on it briefly the last time we were here. you were here.
There is no time frame for that right now. It's on the boat. It's designed.
Oh, is it a similar tip as we've?
I think it was value engineered out of the Jackson Road Phase 3. It was part of that. It was designed as part of that project, but I think it came in over budget, or there weren't enough funds to do that. That was sort of an amenity at the end. So there's no.
So that's not anything. So there's no. That's not next year that we're talking. Could be.
It's not on. It's not scheduled.
How do we get that moved up? Because I mean that's a huge factor in getting that whole area redeveloped, in my opinion.
You're talking about just squaring off the intersection with Jack.
Well, there was, if I recall, and you kind of brought my attention to it, was that there was a grant awarded to both Ayer and Devon's to redo that corridor from the gate to streetscape. We're talking about two different things, maybe.
I think we are, but
the streetscape.
I think we're applying for. Right, we're going to jointly apply
Yes,
for that.
So it hasn't been applied for yet.
Yeah, so through the chair, and I
Okay.
will check, Mark Wetzel and Peter Lowett from the deck, we are submitting a regional application for the complete street
Sorry.
to do the streetscape improvements at Verbic Gate in that intersection and so
Up
forth.
to through Main Street or West Main
Yes,
Street. Okay.
and this will be the first, I mean, it's scheduled for submission. This will be the first regional application.
All right, so it's still in the priority.
That's we're relatively confident on receiving that. I mean, as you know, anything's possible, but it's a
Sure.
strong application. So there's that, which would address the Verbic Gate streetscape, lighting, sidewalk.
But the whole corridor, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
not
Yeah.
just Verbeck Gate. I was
Right,
thinking
that
of
whole-
we had
Yeah.
a project to
Yeah.
straighten out the intersection at Verbeck and McPherson.
Right,
yeah.
That's not. Yeah, we're talking about this.
Yeah.
The full. Corridor.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought it had
okay.
already been approved. So it was just a matter of.
I will follow up and report back to the board.
More
on
of a
that.
MassWorks thing, or than a tip? Like, so is it something that could happen relatively quicker than
It's through the
getting on
complete streets. I mean, it would be
Oh,
be
right.
faster.
Yeah,
Almost
complete
everything
streets.
is faster than the tip.
Yeah. You're-
So I will, through the chair, let me get an update
Okay.
on the status of that.
Okay.
I guess the only other thing looking at my notes from 2012 is when you kind of conceptualize what's going to go into Vicksburg Square, it would also be beneficial from our perspective to have kind of a vision of what other changes may be occurring in Devon's, like if there's additional retail or because there were a couple of things that came up during the meetings back in 2012. One was, putting a grocery store in there, and there was some concern of Devon's actually competing directly with the Ayer retail segment. And so just something that would give us an idea of what may fall after, a Vicksburg Square revival.
Yeah. You mean really directly stuff that may happen on the Vicksburg Square site district, or you mean like
within,
the secondary?
The secondary area,
Yeah.
contingent area.
I don't. The plan was to bring a grocery store into Devon's Center, or whatever we want to call it. That was what Robert Walker wanted to do. He
bring one to Ayer.
He was counting on thousands of homes being built at Devon's back then, and which I don't think an additional 250 is going to be the tipping point at all for that. But we don't, beyond that district, there's really nowhere else at Devon that's zoned for restaurants or anything. So I don't think we're going to grow much more.
Thank you.
Have you gotten the buildings weathertight at least, so they're not like you can preserve them for another year or so? Because they were looking pretty rough there for a few years. And it's a shame because I'm sure were beautiful in their day.
Right. We've got them. The big step we took this year was actually our new CEO. When she came in, we briefed her on Vicksburg and spent on the vandalism that was happening there pretty much on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
So she did authorize us to. I don't know if you've driven by recently, but
No, I haven't.
they're completely fenced off now.
Okay.
There's security cameras that are staffed 24 hours by a service. So we've really cut back on the break-ins. We've boarded up every window on the exterior.
Okay, good.
So I think that's been our...
Yeah, but the ravages of time.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse than a building that sits with unoccupied or anything. Yeah, so
So we really want to make this the time we really
No,
succeed
understood.
and be able to save those buildings, because they are beautiful buildings, and they deserve a better fate.
Mhm.
I agree.
That's all I have.
Anything else?
We'll see a lot of you guys, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, thanks.
All right, Robert.
Yep.
Page 14.
There we go.
Thank you.
Members of the board,
Swiping away over here.
good evening. A few things. First, under the review of warrants, they were, since the Board of Selectmen last met on June 19th, I reviewed, approved, and signed the following warrants. Payroll warrant 18-25 in the amount of $329,674.82 on June 19th. The accounts payable warrant number 18-24 in the amount of $820,234.78, and payroll warrant number 18-26 in the amount of $314,598.06. The first item under my report are the BOS policy review and update. Selectman Livingston and I, for the board, did a thorough review of the BOS policies. A lot of, I think, good work there. You have all of the track changes, and that document was presented to the board back in June as well. I defer to the chair if she wants to comment on some of the changes, but we're...
Well, I covered some of the changes. I did want to let Scott know that based on his comment, his feedback, the last time we met, on page 29 under the regular board meetings, that is being stricken out, as far as the purpose being that is after 15 minutes, if there's not a quorum, the meeting's canceled. And originally the idea is that to have an automatic reschedule for the following Tuesday. So Scott brought up with the concern about, well, how can the one member make that automatic reschedule? So, so the whole thing got a little bit convoluted, because that is how it read.
Yeah.
That is how it read. The idea being is that it was going to be an automatic trigger, but then as Robert and I discussed, I said, well, you know, Scott's brought up a good point, but he also, at that moment, Robert would not know if the board would be available the following Tuesday. So we struck out the automatic reschedule, but kept in that on the off chance, which really has not happened in like at least 5 years, if there's not a quorum within 15 minutes, then the meeting is canceled. But if, for example, there had been something on that agenda that was important, I'm going to use like a reserve fund transfer as an example, that we would then use the emergency meeting paragraph that has always been in there to schedule a new meeting immediately, with at least within 48 hours, hopefully, to at least be able to have a quorum come in and take care of that emergency item. And then anything else would be rolled into the next meeting.
So discretion.
Right. So yeah, so the original intent was that it would just be an automatic trigger, but then, you know, kind of, you know, expanding on your feedback, I says, you know what, he's right. So that part has been stricken out, which it's still in here. Wait a minute. Okay, wait. No, it's not, okay. It's been changed to the town manager will then work with the BOS to reschedule on a new night or roll into the next regularly scheduled meeting. And then it says in the event of an emergency meeting. Of course, we would use the provisions of the 3rd or 1419. For a second there, I thought that change didn't get put in. I could see the comment, and I'm like, oh. So that you know, majority of the changes for Chris's benefit were changing town administrator to town manager, and of course updating the position. The other feedback that Scott had brought up is that for records retention for the police, it still said the lieutenant. We changed it to deputy.
Okay. Did you strike the recall parameters altogether?
Yes, because we don't have one.
Because there was always
Yeah. So
30% of the vote. It was some. I always thought.
Right. So we have no recall
Okay.
policy, but we have discussed that we probably should look into having one. Other towns have one.
It works well in other towns.
Well, when Robert and I talked about it, I says that, if we're going to come up with one, for the board to look at, I would like it to be a little bit more specific than, like, for example, Townsend.
No,
And,
a witch hunter.
kind of a
yeah,
high
yeah,
crimes
yeah.
and misdemeanors.
I
thing.
agree.
Yeah, and then, so we've talked about it, and of course, anybody can bring up the ideas and everything, but when we kind of establish something, we'll bring it forward for all of us to review and discuss. But yes, that did get struck.
Okay.
And then, of course, some of the meetings, the boards, committees, and everything, they got fixed. And then we added in the paragraphs again for Chris's benefit, the paragraphs 1838 and 1839. And the reason why it's 18 is because that's the year that would be approved. And that is to just kind of do a reminder as far as, and also so that people can kind of see when, like, annual public hearings are usually held. So that paragraph is like your public hearing for town meeting, a water sewer rate, tax classification hearing, and about when they're usually scheduled. The 1839, and there are some blanks in there, but I saw in the packet that we might be able to fill in a couple of those blanks, is to just have it in the policy, because again, the policy is not just for us, it's for the future boards, to just always be a little bit of a reminder that all policies should be reviewed, and it should be at least every 2 years. So that would be this one. Of course, it's been about 5 years since it had gotten updated. Financial policy, I know that Scott's working on. But at least every 2 years. So for an example, in this one, liquor license fees. Well, we happen to talk about it in February, so 2 years from now, we should look at it again. Building permit fees, same thing. And I know that a couple of the policies, like I think it's the electronic communication policy is in the packet for tonight for review. And then there's the credit card use policy, but just to kind of plug in some dates, basic ideas is to just as a reminder.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing to do because things change so much. I mean,
yeah, and every 2 years,
Yeah.
especially things like electronics and credit
Sure.
card uses and everything. And quite honestly, those reviews could be like, yep, we've looked at it, and actually there's nothing changed, and then it could be you're looking at it going, oh my God, there's a lot of stuff. So, like I said, that's a lot of it. A lot of the inspection of public records, that paragraph, with the accepted changes, is like probably 4 lines because of the way things are done now as far as the open meeting laws and the records retention and things like that. Any questions, concerns?
No, I read through it. Happy with it.
it looked good pretty to me. It looks like it's just a lot of cleaning up stuff.
Yeah.
Majority really is a lot of cleaning up stuff. Like I said, just updating the positions and then everything. And then just, then as you're going along, you're like, my God, this sentence doesn't even read right or something. So that's the majority thing. And to be honest, I mean, if for some reason, 6 months from now, we're like, why is this in this policy? We reopen it and fix it. It's not like it's permanent. You can never touch it again. So if there's no issues, I would like to recommend its approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated Board of Selectmen policy as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair says aye.
You made that motion?
I did.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
It just went blank.
every now and then, I have one of those voices, people just.
That's Scott. I'm Chris. I know I missed a meeting or so.
Your expression it was just like, who are you?
I heard a voice. I just whose it was.
It's been a long week. It's only Tuesday.
I know, it's only a bonus.
Okay, all right. Next, Robert, you have the.
Yeah, so, Madam Chair, and I know the IT director's here, I think she's helping APAC in the closet. Since this process, which the board just approved, if there's not objection, ask Cindy to come up. The IT committee, which Cindy staffs, had 2 meetings to review all of the IT policies, and many of these IT policies were put into place by the Board of Selectmen back in 2012, 2013, and they were in need of being reviewed and updated, and the IT committee agreed that they would adopt that 2-year review schedule as well on these. So what you have in your packet, the board, the IT committee met, again, had its final meeting on July 10th, and unanimously recommended for the board's consideration of approval the policies in your packet that show the red line changes, which in many cases were also title changes or just basic housekeeping. But there's the information technology acquisition policy, the social media policy, and the information technology policy for portable storage devices. Is there one more? And the electronic communication policy. And all of these back when they were developed were based on best practices that Cindy had found and so forth, but have been vetted by the IT committee on 2 separate meetings. So they're before you for discussion or consideration of approval. Is the recommendation of the committee.
No, I read through, I think they look fine.
Is there anything, Cindy, you wanted to point out or highlight? Or
No, the committee looked at each policy word by word, and probably the next thing we'll be doing on policy is a cloud policy for storage. But I think these are all pretty much in order for the next 2 years.
No, and it was 2013, right?
Yeah, I remember a couple of these.
Yeah, actually. And I think we amended a few things along the way too, or added a few things since 2013, right?
I don't think so.
No?
Not on these specifically. I know we did the WISP in February of this year.
Okay. Yeah,
It's probably the newest one we've had.
okay.
What was the WISP again?
The Written Information Security
Okay.
Policy.
I knew we did something.
So many policies and acronyms.
Take all the acronyms. My life is an acronym sometimes. All right, any questions, comments? No?
I'll make a motion to approve the IT acquisition policy, the electronic communication policy, the social media policy, and the electronic portable storage policy as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
very
you,
much.
Cindy.
Now everyone can re-sign them all.
4 signature pages. They
Oh.
marked them very clear.
We were not thinking when we approved that. Now we're gonna do all these signatures.
Thank you.
But if we sign the original.
That's the whole point of not being a chair was you don't have to sign anymore. Feels like it's gone the other
Well,
way.
it's funny that you say that because, when you were chair, it seemed like there was a lot by the chair, by
I
the chair, by
agree.
the chair, and now it's like.
No, now it feels like everything is by the board.
Yeah.
Without a chair, it'd be wonderful.
We just like having your signature.
Yeah, I know, it's so
So the
fancy.
next item to the Board of Selectmen, and we don't want to rush summer, but before you know it, we'll be coming into the fall. One of the things that I know that we've discussed, the Board of Selectmen have discussed for some time, I know that the Finance Committee for some time, is having a comprehensive budget calendar for the whole year. that has everything to the extent that we can planned and spelt out. Additionally, some of the things that I have heard loud and clear from the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee and other groups, and especially this board, what we want to do in the FY 2020 process is to maximize the public outreach, also maximize the amount of public and deliberations on the budget, sort of on the back end in the spring. There have been years like this most recent one where things were right up to the line, and so we had the time